being here. We're going to reconvene into our regular meeting at this time. Dr. Warren.
All right. If everybody will please stand, we're going to do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. If you feel comfortable doing so, please pray with me. Our dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for the day. Lord, thank you for the rain. Thank you for the weather. It was much needed. We just ask that you bless this meeting tonight, be with our board members, be with all in attendance, see us safely home. Lord, and above all things else, just please provide your love, your guidance, your wisdom, and your protection to our children. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Thank you all very much. All right, folks, we have three very special guests. Thompson Elementary is well represented here. We have a fourth grader, Weston Serrano. Weston, wave at everybody. There we go. And we can clap. Let's see. Roger, Beth, you here? Yeah. Glad to see you. Thank you for bringing them. All right, favorite subjects for Weston, math and science. Great job, Weston. What does he like to do? He likes playing football and playing video games. At the same time? Okay. Here is what is said about Weston. Weston is a friendly and energetic trailblazer. He has a heart of gold, and he's an excellent role model for his peers in and outside the classroom. He's in the Destination Imagination running club, and he is also plays football for the Eaton Youth Sports. He loves participating in class, and he's open to feedback and always making himself better. Good job, Weston. Thank you for being here. All right. And then we have Sophie Suarez. Wave at everybody, Sophie. There you go. George Kelly. Good to see you. Favorite subjects, science and math. Great job. I like to play with my baby sister and sometimes my big sister. I also like to read. Great job, Sophie. Sophie has been a trailblazer since the very first day of kindergarten, and every year has impressed with the way she models our creed. At JCT, we take care of ourselves, each other, and this place. She is kind, caring, truly wants to make sure everyone around her is having a good day too. She always enjoys singing and represents JCT in our choir and leadership club. Sophie, thank you for being here. And then fifth grader, Jackson Machaka. Hi, Jackson.
Hi.
Chuck, Ann, thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. What are your favorite subjects, Jackson?
Science and math.
Good job. What do you like to play, Jackson?
Football.
Let's see. It says it's play football, and I love doing anything outside. This is what your principal said about you, Jackson. Jackson demonstrates a leadership characteristics we are looking for at JCT, and he does a great job modeling trail guide expectations for his peers. This future Eagle plays football for the Eagles Youth Sports and is embedded in the Eagle culture. He is a Destination Imagination kid and enjoys sharing his creativity, and even if his mom is the coach. Nice, Jackson. Nice. All right, guys, y'all are going to lead us in the American flag first and then the Texas pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great job. Texas, please. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. All right, guys, stay right there. Mrs. Kopp has a present for you. Great job, guys.
Now we're moving to recognitions. Dr. Warren.
Mrs. Conklin, are we ready?
Yes. If you guys can join me down at the front. First this evening, it is my honor to recognize a group of very deserving staff members from Cox Elementary for some heroic and prompt actions for the health of one of our students. So I'd like to ask the principal, Kim Beacon, to come to the mic and further explain and recognize her staff this evening.
Thank you. I am very honored to talk about the actions of my staff. I was not on campus at the time. I was out of town, and we actually had one of our youngest students that became unresponsive after running club. And because of the well-orchestrated, just quick-moving actions of our campus, this child is doing very well. The first person on the scene was our 5th grade teacher, Vicki Fields. You'll come on up, Vicki. There were a lot of people involved. They couldn't all be here tonight, but Vicki was there. You want her to go up there? Vicki was there and tended to the child. Soon after, our nurse did show up, and at that point sent her to get the AED. Her kindergarten teacher, Miss Martin, was quickly down there to help calm the child when she did become responsive. Our nurse did have to go through 3 cycles of CPR and chest compressions before the student was conscious. And there were people that were at the doors that were directing EMS when they arrived. We had other teachers that quickly went down to running club to take over for dismissal so that other teachers could be there on the scene. And it was just amazing, and it truly shows that it's so important to be CPR certified, so I would just encourage all of you here, if you are of age, you have students of age, teenagers, and principals, it's so important because you never know when something's going to happen on your campus, and I just highly commend my staff. Thank you.
All right, next this evening, we are recognizing our Advanced Academics Coordinator, Audra Rao, for winning the Going the Extra Mile, the GYM Award, and that is sponsored by EECU Credit Union. And we also have Barb Walker here from EECU if you want to join us at the front. But Audra was nominated for her work supporting schools and families with their needs and questions. She serves as the go-to person for anyone seeking information about our advanced academic offerings. So congratulations, and thank you for your amazing customer service. All right, and then I'd like to ask Jerry Cantu to come up next and recognize our partner in education.
Thank you, Emily. Tonight, we're very excited to welcome one of our newest partners in education. If Kevin McNamara, if you would, join us up front. Mr. McNamara is the owner of Wise Guys Pizzeria in Roanoke. As many of you know, there's a lot of expansion going on in downtown Roanoke. Wise Guys Pizzeria is one of the latest restaurants to open up there. They've been working with several of our campuses in the Roanoke area for quite some time, and we're here just to formalize the agreement and welcome them to our Partners in Education program. Thank you.
All right, and next we are recognizing LBJ Express and North Tarrant Express for a $20,000 check presentation to the Northwest ISD Education Foundation. So I'd like to ask if you serve on the board of directors for the Education Foundation, please come to the front. And then I'd also like to invite Robert Hinkle and Allie Freisinger from LBJ Express and North Tarrant Express. So this donation will benefit educators who receive a grant that is STEM related and will also be earmarked for graduating seniors pursuing an engineering degree to receive a scholarship. So we are very much looking forward to a good partnership. He was here. Oh, here comes the check. And look at this. This is perfect timing. Well, hello. You guys can come on to the front. So as we were saying, we are looking forward to a great partnership with LBJ Express and North Tarrant Express. And that's all for our recognitions.
Okay, now we will move to item number 6, public participation. Ms. Reyes, if you'll make your way to the podium as I read this statement. Public participation is an opportunity for the public to address the board on any matter, whether or not it is on the agenda. The board may place reasonable restraints on the number, length, and frequency of presentations, so long as it does not unfairly discriminate among speakers based on viewpoint. 30 minutes are allotted for public participation. People who wish to speak must sign up and complete a request to speak form before the meeting begins. Each presentation is limited to 3 minutes. Groups of more than 5 people shall appoint one person to speak for the group. Speakers should refrain from mentioning by name an employee or student about whom they may have a complaint. The board may not deliberate or take action on a presentation about an item not on the agenda. Mrs. Reyes, if you would please state your name and address.
My name is Susan Reyes, and I live at 12951 Rustic River Pass, Justin, Texas, 76247.
Okay. And you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is my first time to come. My son, Sean Reyes, this year was rezoned from Hatfield Elementary to Claire Love. And at that time, I had expressed some concerns about being rezoned from Hatfield to Claire Love. Obviously, my concerns were not, well, they were listened to. I will say that. But I expressed my concerns mainly, and do not have a problem with Claire Love itself. It's more the setup around Claire Love. The traffic and congestion, it's a nightmare every single morning. Most days, I live in the very edge of Justin Elementary and Claire Love Zone. It takes me 30 to 40 minutes to drop my son off every day. I know not all of this is Northwest ISD's fault. Harriet Creek itself, I think, was a very poorly planned neighborhood with only 2 entrances for such a large neighborhood. But Harriet Creek also had, or Claire Love also has a problem with being a dead end. And so this problem, as I've been told by numerous friends who live in the neighborhood, has been a historic problem in Claire Love Elementary. But the problem hasn't been addressed. Instead, they've added 200 more students. There's a lot of Facebook discussion about that one. Again, mainly due to the setup. Now, also, traffic is a nightmare every single day, dropping them off, picking them up. Also, from a safety standpoint, I'm an educator myself in a different district. I do not see how this could possibly be a safe situation. I work at a school where we do have kids training to be first responders. Thankfully, we have a fire department right down the street. But if the only entrance to the school is blocked,
how will the first responders get in to help our children? Also, the parking situation is horrible there. I went to meet the teacher night. I had a very hard time finding a place. I am normally a parent who's very involved, and I've always been involved. Mrs. Pierce knows me. I know I wasn't supposed to call her out. She's great. But I've always been very involved in schools, and this year, due to the parking situation and the traffic situation, after working all day and already going through the nightmare of dropping my son off, I really don't want to go back in the evening again to have to be subjected to, where do I find a parking place? I don't live in Harriet Creek. I don't have, a house where I can just walk to the school to be able to come and participate. And I do believe the staff in the school is doing everything they can to try to prevent the problems, but they were handed a bad situation to begin with. So, thank you.
Ms. Reyes, thank you. Board, just real quick, and just you guys need to know, Mrs. Reyes was not embellishing. It is an issue for us, and I appreciate it when she said, this is not a campus issue. It's really not a campus issue. It's a district level issue, and Mr. McClure actually has this on one of his front burner issues to do that. He's working with his crew. He's working with the transportation department, and so we are doing our very best to make sure that we're going to make some changes so that Mrs. Reyes and the rest of the crew there at Love get some relief. So we're on it.
Okay, moving on to item number 7, consent agenda. Dr. Warren, do you want to say anything about that? We good?
Board consent agendas, either we can make the motion to approve, or if we need to pull any of the items for further explanation.
Madam President,
Mr. Sluter.
I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Sluter, a second by Mr. Wright. All those in favor? Carries 7-0. Okay. Item 8 on our discussion action items, we're going to move E up to the first one, which is the 2018-19 Campus Improvement Goals and Objectives. Dr. Warren?
Board, I appreciate Mrs. Kopp considering let's do the improvement plans first, just because we've got a group of folks here, and I know some of them have activities to go to tonight. So before we formally introduce you to the campus improvement plans, I thought it good, just because we do have some new faces in the crowd, to bring the principals up and have them introduce themselves to you and their assignments, because we over the last couple 3 years we have had some changes. So let's do elementary first. Everybody, elementary, line up, please. Let me see the bubbles in your mouth. And, all right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, we got everybody. Nice job. All right. Well, Jim, since you're a newbie, it'd be great for you to start us off.
All right. I'm Jim Mailer, principal at Hatfield Elementary School.
First year at Hatfield. Yep.
I'm Michelle McAdams, principal at K. Granger Elementary.
Not the first year at K. Granger.
I'm Mary Filter. I'm a 5th-year principal at Lincoln Elementary. Carrie Pierce, principal at Lincoln Elementary. First year at Kim Weekend, principal at Fox Elementary. Amy Howe, principal at Schluter Elementary. Tony Bowles, principal at Native Elementary, 3rd year.
Justin Bircher, principal at Pearson Elementary, 2nd year there. Amy Conklin, 11th year principal in the district, 5th year.
Hey everybody, Leanne Romer, JCC, Montgomery Elementary.
And your kids did a great job.
Lisa Ronstein, principal at Jackson Elementary, in the 8th year. Lisa Coppola, principal at Fairlawn Elementary, my 1st year in Texas, and 1st year in Fairlawn.
We stole her from Oklahoma, and glad to do so.
Hi, I'm Melissa Weber, principal at Pasco Elementary, and 7th year.
John Bowles, principal at Cedar Ranch Elementary. This is my third year.
Hi, Jessica McDonald from White Hughes Elementary, and this is my 8th year there. Katie King, Christy King, principal at Roanoke Elementary, this is my 8th year at Roanoke. Yolanda Wallace in my 6th year as principal at Greenville. And Leffern is both Leavenworth Elementary School and 4th year.
Very good. Board, really great group of elementary principals. So we're very blessed to have them. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yep. All right, secondary principals. Come on. This is awkward. Wait, Weber, you get down here. You can start us. All right. Monty, please.
I'm Dr. Lonnie Brown. I've been at Hidden Creek for 13 years and 18 years in Northwest High School. Chris Jones, Pike Middle School. This is my 6 years of high school.
Paige Cantrell, Medal Middle School. This is year number 2 for me as principal. Natalie Arnold, Wilson Middle School, first year. Good evening, Dr. Street Raven. This is my 5th year, too, from 2nd year. Dr. Cindy Weber. This is my Leo Adams Principal. 6 years as principal, previously at Hudson.
Say your name one more time. Dr. Cynthia Weber. She's just able to say that, so that's cool.
I'm Red Team, principal at Middle School, going on. I'm Ron Myers. I've been Byron for 6 years, and this is my 5th year as principal. Mike Blankenship, first year at East High School. Bobby Marks, first year.
Jerry Jackson, Northwest High School, first year at Northwest High School.
There we go. There you go. Yep. And board, I believe the only one not represented tonight is Susan Moore, and she's in charge of our special programs unit. She just lost her dad, and our prayers are with her and her family. So, guys, thank you all very much for coming up. Appreciate it. All right, board. I know Mr. Sproles really enjoyed the packet this time because it was a 900-pager. But starting on page 79 in your packet, and again, as I told you in my letter, this is a discussion-only item. You will be asked to approve the campus improvement plans in the October board meeting. But one of the reasons why I wanted the principals to introduce themselves is just we do have some new faces in the crowd, and I wanted y'all to know who takes care of the kids every single day, and they do a phenomenal job taking care of our babies every single day. And then I just want to recognize the work that has gone into these improvement plans. They did a really nice job on the plans, and I'm very proud to present these to you tonight to hopefully ratify those in October. So Michael, Logan, anything to add?
No, other than it is an honor to be the ones able to share this with you. The hard work definitely has been seen through the work of our principals and all that they put into their campus improvement plan. So it's Dr. Ferris and I honor to be able to share them with you tonight. This is a graphic that is not new to you as a part of our strategic planning flow chart. Campus improvement plans are most definitely a part of that process. And you will see in each of our campus improvement plans, we have updated their front covers to represent our new core, our revised core beliefs, our new vision, and our revised mission statement. And from that, all 3 of our new strategic goals and each of our campus plans are aligned specifically with the strategic goals, especially as they relate to the campus level and academics. They're all based on a comprehensive needs assessment. They're all, as I said, aligned to our district goal and objectives. And they are definitely seen as a continuous plan for improvement. It's not something we work on at the beginning of the year and then set it aside. It's something that is revisited and continuously looked at and learned from as we continue throughout the year. So as typical, when we share this with you each year, all of our principals on a yearly basis meet with a campus committee, and they develop, review, and revise their campus improvement plan throughout the year. It's certainly based on the improvement of student performance, and it is aligned with our district improvement plan. So you will see a comprehensive needs assessment in each of our campus improvement plans. That is a description of the achievement based on multiple forms of data, and from that, campuses identify their key strengths and then also identify needs of the campus based on what they see in their data, and also try and identify some of the root causes for those needs and write those as problem statements. You will see in each of our campus improvement plans, they each have performance objectives aligned to our strategic goals, how they plan to evaluate the progress on their objectives, the strategies that they will employ to meet those objectives, who is responsible for each of those strategies, the timeline for monitoring it, and also a problem statement or possibly more than one problem statement from their needs assessment that's aligned with each of their performance objectives. So this is just a screenshot of what it looks like when you're in the program of Plan for Learning. The first thing that you see or principals see are the three strategic goals aligned to student achievement. And then from there, this is just a screenshot of one of them randomly selected that shows a performance goal aligned to our strategic goal number 1. And you'll see how they plan to evaluate the sources, the data sources they will use to evaluate at the end of the year. That blank spot is where they come back and show their summative evaluation results. And then they identify strategies, people responsible, and what they expect to see from as a result of that strategy, and then also a problem statement or statements that are aligned to each strategy. And then you'll also see periodic checks throughout the year where they, again, meet with their committee on their campus to assess how are we doing so far in progress with this strategy. So we definitely have a very collaborative group of principals. They are a tight-knit group, and we meet on a regular basis. So here's a picture recently. They were giving each other feedback on their problem of practice and taking that to tune it as they implemented it or applied it to their campus improvement plan. They each have received written feedback from Dr. Ferris or myself on their campus improvement plan as they revised it. And then built into our learning cycles, which we have 4 learning cycles throughout this year, and built into each learning cycle, you'll see towards the bottom is an opportunity. Once they've reviewed their campus improvement plan on their campus, we've built in opportunities for them to reflect on the progress that they're making when we come to Principals PLC, and to be able to talk with their colleagues on what's working, what's not working, and share strategies and results periodically throughout the year. So that, in a nutshell, is the process that we use for campus improvement plans, and Dr. Ferris and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Board, any questions? Initially, I mean, I know you have a month to review these. Any initial questions?
I don't have any questions, but one thing I would like to say thank y'all. We've added 2 schools this year, and the packet got smaller. So it's 800 pages, and it's taken a while to get through them, and I've put a big dent in it, and what I've read so far is very, very impressive. There are some things that I really like in there, and I'm going to send an email to Dr. Warren about that, and hopefully you'll share it with him as well. Especially, I tend to gravitate towards goal 3 on your plans, because that's how I came up through the district. I'm a PTA, watchdog dad, and so I like to see what y'all are doing to engage parents. And I've seen some good things out there, and the one that really impressed me there's 2 campuses that I've read so far that do a student or grade level service project, and I hope I get to visit with those campuses and find out more about that, because that's very impressive. I like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, principals, you are more than welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but if you have somewhere else to be, we completely understand. Do not hit anybody on the way out.
Thank you so much for coming and for everything you do. Thank you. All right, moving on to action item A, consider annual review and revisions of the Northwest ISD Board of Trustees Standards of Professional Practice. Dr. Warren?
Board, on page 21, began the information on your professional standards of practice. I received no feedback on any changes above and beyond what we've already done for the new strategic framework. Does anyone have anything that we need to look at before Mrs. Kopp calls, President Kopp calls for a vote, for a motion? Mrs. President Kopp, I recommend approval.
Mrs. Kopp, I move to approve the recommended revisions and affirm the Northwest ISD Board of Trustees Standards of Professional Practice.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Simpson, a second by Mr. Sluter. All those in favor? 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
And Mrs. Kopp, will we get a hard copy? Can we get a? We've had a copy before.
We
right?
absolutely can.
One?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. B, class size exemption waiver. Dr. Warren?
Board, page 49 begins your information about our yearly approval of the class size waivers. Page 50 actually gives you the information on the actual numbers. Board, the background information, of course, TEA requires the 22-to-1 K4, really pre-K4. We took your guidance this last budget cycle, and we actually staff on a 20-to-1 pre-K, 22-to-1 K2, and then the 24-to-1 third and fourth grade. And those, the third and fourth grade is where us and the state does not align. That's hence we need the waivers. So I'm very happy to report that you have no waivers to approve in kindergarten, first or second. Every single section is at the 22-to-1 level. And then out of roughly, how many, Kim,
total sections?
Third and fourth grade?
Third and fourth grade, we have 94 fourth grade sections and 98 third grade.
So 200-ish sections. We have 21 that are either R1 or 2 past the 22-to-1 mark. They all are in compliance with your 24-to-1 mandate.
Correct.
And I would recommend approval.
Madam President,
Mr. Sluter?
move to approve the TEA class size exception waiver for elementary classrooms which exceed the 22-to-1 standard as recommended by the administration.
I'll second, but I have a question for Dr. Warren. If we do go over the 24-to-1 on a certain campus, that would necessitate hiring a new teacher, is that correct?
One or the other, Josh. We have the waiver to go over. We do, in the past, we have hired teachers in the past, and that's why we have contingencies worked in thing. Now, you've got to be very careful this time of the year. You know, when we move around teachers at the very first week of school, we do so to make sure that those class sizes are the correct size, the ratios are the correct size, but that's within the first week of school. When you start talking about taking kids away from the teachers they've had for the last 5 weeks, that's something there. So we really have to think about it, administratively think about what that would do to the child to be able to do that. If we got a whole slew of kids all at one campus, and that yes, we would have to add teachers if we got like exorbitant amount. We just have to see about the staffing at that particular thing, this time of year.
Thank you.
Kim, did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Kim.
So this waiver is letting us go from the 22-to-1 to 24-to-1. But
Correct.
Not any higher without further action?
Correct. We would, that's what we still monitor, Dr. Cayley, we still monitor every section weekly
Every
to make
day,
sure that we know what the sizes are.
Correct. Okay.
Thank you. And Madam President, I did second as well.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Sluter and a second by Mr. Wright. Any other discussion? All those in favor? 7-0.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Kim.
Item C, NISD Aquatic Center Partnership. Dr. Warren?
Board, as I told you in my letter, page 53 starts the information about our natatorium, and this has become a very exciting project. I am asked constantly when I make my speeches around the district about when, where, and that. And Mr. McClure, Tim has done a fantastic job as he's started the design process. He's done that, and then really listening, and I'll go all the way back to when we were making our speeches before the bond was actually passed. This was very important to our communities to actually make this a community asset, to really make sure that we have as many folks have access to this as possible. And I think Tim's report to you tonight and the partners that we have, the potential partners that we have here tonight, I think it's going to make you very excited about this facility.
Thank you, Dr. Warren. Thank you, Board. I'll do a real quick introduction as I have a entourage of people behind me and some more sitting in the audience. As we were going to present just a concept basically for you tonight to get your feedback on and really understand if we are headed down the right path and how to continue to move forward so that we meet our timelines. I'll start at the far end of the room, and we've got two representatives here from Huckabee, Steve Hafer and Brian Green, leading the project process. With us from Texas Health tonight, we have Clint Abernathy, and I know y'all are all familiar with Clint. And then we also have Tom Caldwell and Tracy Martinez, both with us as well. And then from Performance Course, we have Jeremiah Chapman. And then, of course, Joel Johnson and Celine Braswell, y'all both know, obviously. So that's the group. We've been working collectively for several months now on a concept that we wanted to bring to you. And so I'm going to kick it off, but then you're going to hear from each of the entities standing next to me and the opportunity for potential partnerships and how that may benefit not just our students, not just our staff, but our community as a whole as we look towards the aquatic center as we're under design for that. First of all, the why. I mean, the why is we already know. We passed it on a bond, and it was passed for a lot of these reasons plus more. But providing a place for our swim and dive teams to call home, to cut down on travel times and rental fees, the ability to host meets and to grow the sport throughout our district, as we're already starting to see that grow. I know Joel can speak to that. And then an ability to start swim lessons and water safety classes for all our kids at some point at some grade level designation that would be determined. But as we got into this, and as you look at some of these natatoriums that are produced by other districts across the state, we started to wonder, what about the what if? And many districts across the state look at natatoriums as a partnering exercise. We have some locally, Keller ISD partners with the City of Keller. They have a shared use facility, so they kind of have a rec center on one side and a natatorium center on the other side. A lot of times there's youth organizations like the YMCA that come in and partner with districts. With our district and the makeup and the demographics, we said some of those partnerships don't really work. Which entity, which city would we pick to partner, and then how would they allow that to go with their citizens who weren't in their city? And so we started looking at this as a challenge and saying, well, is there even an opportunity here? And so what we discussed as I kind of sat down with Joel and I sat down with Celine and we started talking through this was what if we could provide an opportunity for our students from a curriculum standpoint? What if we could provide a training resource for our students, staff, and community? What if we could provide a healthcare resource, a rehabilitation resource, and then ultimately, what if those resources gave us the opportunity to offset operational costs long term? And so when we started talking about that, that's where this kind of spawned, this center of being able to bring in other partnerships, have those partnerships be a contributing factor to the facility as well as to the long-term outreach of the community. And so who we have here tonight, I've already presented the team, but of course Texas Health, we're already working with them with our medical center that is here on site. So we reached out to them. Performance Course has been in the district working with our athletic group for over a decade now. So we reached out to them, and we really brought all those entities together and say, does this even work? Because, I mean, we're creating something that we weren't sure about. And so is this model, if we started to talk about this model, is this something that even works? And we still have discussions to go on that, but we're to the point in the design, and I'll show you the design at the end, We're happy to take questions throughout the course of the conversation or even at the end. But through the point of design, we're kind of at that point where we've challenged our architects to say, we want you to design this in a way that if these partnerships don't fit, or if we don't get the charge from our board to move forward with this, that we can peel those partnerships off and just continue on with the design as it is. And so they've done a good job of designing the facility that way, but we think that these partnerships have an ability to enhance what we're able to provide for the district and the community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joel and let him speak a little bit on his viewpoints.
Good evening. I tell you, I'm so excited about this project for our kids. It's just it's going to be great for all three of our campuses, our swim kids and our divers. It's so exciting. But also this Tim leading this, it's kind of outside the box thinking, if you will, has just been great. He's done an outstanding job putting us together and letting all of us give input and talk about ideas. And I'm really, really excited about where this could possibly lead. So from an athletic standpoint, I wanted to just provide a few things just right off the top of my head that we've talked about in some of these meetings, benefits that we'll get from our kids. Number one, with Texas Health, it's a natural partnership with NISD already. I mean, you guys know the relationship we have with Texas Health, and it fits with what we do. Second thing, Texas Health has always been very involved with our shack committees and our reindeer romps, and it's just another thing for Texas Health to get plugged in with NISD and NISD athletics. It's a resource for knowledge experience when dealing with athletic rehab opportunities. We do a great job right now of getting our kids looked at and getting our kids diagnosed, but we don't have a facility in the district where a kid can actually go and get treatment and get rehabbed. And I think that's probably something unique that any district has. And I'm super excited about that opportunity that our kids need rehabilitation. They go right down the street and they're able to get it on one of our buildings. And then it serves as a big need to our surrounding communities and provides services that we've never been able to do in the district in regards to physical therapy, physical rehabilitation, and things like that. So Texas Health, their piece in this is just the possibilities just go on and on. With performance course, again, excuse me, they've been a natural partner with NISD, have provided services to our kids and our coaches for, like Tim said, over a decade now. It's a great fit to have them come on and be a part of this. They're also involved with our shack group and our reindeer romp activities as well. It's having an ability to offer elite athlete training. That's exciting to me. You guys may not know this, but every year right before spring training starts, we always have 5 or 6 Major League Baseball players asked to use our facilities at Northwest High School down in the indoor just to get ready for spring training. And it's always fun for me to go talk to those guys. It's neat. And so as this area grows with Northwest ISD, with Keller, with Southlake, more and more of these people are beginning to be professional athletes, and they're always looking for a place where they could possibly come and work out or rehab themselves and not get bogged down with people asking for autographs and pictures. So elite athlete training is a huge possibility. Additional weight room space with performance coming on, the weight room would be bigger, and we can get more kids in there, more kids involved. And then the big one for me and our kids is the addition of the turf room, where our kids can have some more opportunities to do their dry land training and working out rather than just be in the pool, have to go back to the campus to do certain things outside the water. They'll have opportunities to do it right there at the site. And then just general benefits, community relationships and new opportunities with all the, Tim hit on these, all the different opportunities we'll have for our public with open swim and aerobics and lifeguard training and swim lessons and things like that. Increased area for training opportunities. For our kids, it's going to be more of a one-stop shop, kind of going back to what we talked about a while ago. They swim there, they dive there, they rehab there, they lift weights there, they do their dry land training there, and they don't have to go anywhere else. It's all right there for them, and I think that's a big benefit. Rehab opportunities for NISD athletes and community members. water safety, swim lessons, and then obviously the growth of our swim and dive programs at each of our campuses. They continue to grow every year, and by having our own facility with all those different opportunities, I think they're going to grow even more. So. Thanks.
Good evening. How are y'all? So I'm Jeremiah Chapman, the Vice President of Performance Course, and have actually taught the strength coach in the district. My wife's taught in the district. I live in the district. My kids go to Cox Elementary, so I was happy to see that earlier. And super excited about this opportunity. I think, you're looking at kind of what we do, why we do it, and if you're not familiar with Performance Course, we provide athletic training opportunities for kids, but that's not really what our vision is, to help create young adults that will actually, be a benefit to society, and how we can do that through training, obviously through developing hard work and work ethic, but we also call it a course for a reason. It's the same thing I tell our athletes. You're going to get training, but the benefit, the long-term benefit, is the character development that we're going to talk about, the nutrition, the goal setting, and the things that go along with athletics that are going to, benefit them far beyond their just athletic playing days, because at some point, as we all know, those things end. And I think with this opportunity for us to get in the classroom with Celine and the CTE, and to be able to talk about sports management or those opportunities that may arise, and give us a chance to teach and reach other students that we wouldn't necessarily have the benefit to do if they're not involved in athletics, is another important piece. And just some of our, and these are our highlights. I don't really need to talk about it. And he mentioned we've been here for, I think, 12 years, and I've actually worked at Northwest High School with Performance Course, and I worked at Byron Nelson as an employee, and then I'm back, and I was at Byron Nelson this morning working with girls basketball. So I have a bond with Northwest ISD, looking forward to it. I think the benefit of working with Texas Health and having a return-to-play model for Northwest ISD student athletes provides a tremendous advantage in working with over 50 school districts in the state at Performance Course. There is nothing like this out there as far as what we've seen. So I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the district as a whole.
Thank you. My name is Tom Caldwell. I'm Vice President of Sports Medicine for Texas Health Resources. I'd like to thank Tim and Joel, Dr. Warren, and members of the school board for allowing us to present today. We're very excited about the prospect of bringing our sports medicine services to your campus. You can see on this slide here we have some of the services that we can provide to the student athletes. So everything from baseline concussion testing and concussion management through medical services provided by clinicians with advanced training in sports medicine, and then rehabilitation and sports nutrition and athletic training, and the opportunity to involve our experts in the curriculum and to give access to your students for potential careers in sports medicine. It's a multidisciplinary model, so it's not just physician services. It's orthopedic physicians, primary care sports physicians, as I said, sports nutrition, physical therapy, athletic training, exercise science. So you can get exposure to a lot of different potential careers in just the sports medicine field. Our goal is to be an internationally recognized sports medicine program, and I think that aligns with your goal of excellence in your school district. I'm going to turn it over to Tracy Martinez, who's here to talk about our history of involvement with Northwest ISD and how we're going to build upon that.
So that's already been somewhat discussed, you guys. Thank you. You kind of led me straight to my presentation, but essentially it's been a long-standing partnership really since Texas Health Alliance opened 6 years ago. It's been a collaborative effort. Reindeer Romp is a perfect example that was mentioned, the School Health Advisory Council, and also having the primary care physician here on the district. So what this innovative facility will allow is expanded and a newly renovated clinic for that physician, but also sports medicine physician here on the campus that will be available to not only your students, but also your employees and within the community. And then, of course, Joanne will talk a little bit more about the student opportunities to come into the clinic and experience both the sports medicine aspect, but then also the therapy and other activities there. So I'll pass it over to Joanne.
They saved the best for last. Yeah. So we are so, you do? Oh, man. We are so excited about this opportunity I was actually fortunate enough to be part of the process when they started talking about the natatorium. And one of the first things we started discussing is how do our facilities teach our students? How do we ensure that the new buildings that we build at all aspects are teaching our students? And so with this opportunity, we have over 1,000 students that are currently enrolled in various forms of health science programs in our district. Currently, 120 of those students are on clinical rotations throughout DFW, technically. They're most of the Tarrant County, Denton County, and they're either an EMT or certified medical assistant. We are going to see a job increase, continuing to increase, especially with aging population for students and a need for physical therapists, sports medicine, and things of that nature. Unfortunately, we have not had the ability to be able to offer that strand until now. We have innovative courses that are approved through TEA now, and we have a full program of study and a pathway that we can actually put into our current health science model that doesn't require additional cost, but will provide more opportunities for our students. I think one of the best things for our students as well is, although we're on a rotation to get those clinical opportunities, we are still competing with Keller and Denton and some of the other places where we're housed. Having our own facility allows us to have a direct line and an opportunity for our students. Part of the innovative program as well is allowing our students to connect with industry professionals. And we really try to do that with all of our programs. But the thing that's best fit for our students, especially in the medical field, a lot of it is who you know and being able to build a network of people who are going to help you persevere through those programs, whether it's an entry-level job or a technical career or the professional career, and 8 years after you've gone to med school. Building those connections early and often is essential for our students. And so we're very excited to be able to work alongside professionals and be able to do that. At the end of the day, the big picture for us is there's more resources available, more clinical opportunities, and we're going to be able to put in a program or a pathway that actually allows all of our students to participate and get those opportunities that they haven't gotten before. Currently, the two programs that we have that allow that are both great entry-level careers. Unfortunately, a lot of our students who really would love to pursue sports medicine just don't have that avenue, and this would allow us to do it.
Thank you all very much. So, Board, let me just take you through kind of the diagrammatic looks and the plans that we're at this point where we're kind of pushed the pause button to come to you tonight, seeking that direction. First and foremost, a location. You can see it right there. I put it in the yellow circle. We've talked about this being right across from the stadium. It's a central location for the campus. It fits right there where the practice field is scheduled to come out anyways. One of the things that we've looked at too is just the available parking. So anytime there's a swim meet, you have overflow parking on this site. You have a very ease of bringing in buses of swim teams to drop them off, and then plenty of parking space for those buses as well as the patrons attending those meets. We dive in a little bit closer to the site. That kind of just shows you a little bit more with the parking, kind of where the main entry is. So it would face Texan Drive, obviously, kind of that side or back entrance where you see the bus drop off. And then you see the drive to be extended to Pike Middle School. So one of the things, I'll back up one slide. And I don't have, there we go, there's the mouse. Awesome. So if you look here, we currently have this drive that runs along Pike. The softball practice field is scheduled to come out, and that is where the baseball, softball field house is scheduled to go that was also in the bond. And so we have to extend that drive to get to that house, to that field house and that facility. So what we're looking to do is go ahead and continue that drive and connect all the way to the natatorium. So if you imagine a swim meet or a bus route could come in, drop the kids off, continue back down here, and then park remotely over at the baseball, softball field. So it gives us a nice way to continue to control that traffic as you come in and out. So when you see that line at the bottom that says drive to extend to Pike Middle School, that's part of this project, but also part of that baseball, softball field house project that will be coming up here in the near future. We move inside to the plans. These are a little bit different than what you saw. I color-coded them a little bit better, so we have a few updates from what's in your packet because the colors were just starting to blend a little bit, and I know our projection doesn't do well, and so we switched from the 3 different shades of blue to a blue, a pink, and an orange. But basically, you see everything from the 2 bodies of water. We have the top body of water is the competition body. That's a 50-meter stretch pool with a diving well. And then the second body of water is actually a practice pool, which is a shallow pool that can also hold practices. What we've done in planning for this facility is to make sure in dealing with athletics and with our swim coach over at Byron Nelson, we've talked about the ability to house up to 5 high schools in this facility. Again, planning for that growth. Now, 5 gets really tight. We probably really only want to house about 4 in here ultimately, but if we needed to go to a 5th, that's where that extra practice pool comes into play that really gives us that opportunity. The fact that that practice pool is separated from the competition pool allows great opportunity for those swim lessons and those water safety training classes that would come in from the students, and then you still have the competition area off to the side. The area in orange is the area that has been designated by the medical areas, so some of the existing space for our current medical office that is housed on site, as well as the addition of the orthopedic offices and the other technicians that would come in there. And then the pink area is kind of the expansion area for the training areas, which is what we've talked about with the long piece at the bottom there would be that field that helps with that dry land training. And then, of course, we got a diagonal through the workout area, the weight room area that would be expanded with this type of partnership. And so that kind of lays out the bottom floor. Everything to the north side of the page, all that in the light blue, is all just the standard locker rooms and offices and coaching areas. The one thing you see if you as you enter the front door, right in here, you have a reception area that helps guide you either to the pool or to these other services. But right here, we've centered a classroom right off the main entry. That would be a great place for those classes as they come and go to have resources, have the accessibility to all the resources that would be in the facility. As you move up to the second floor, that's where we've positioned the rehabilitation area. Of course, you have the kind of the dashed X's that you see. Those are basically 2-story volumes. So if you're on the second floor in the main area, of course, that's the seating and concession and restrooms for viewing the swim meets for the spectators. And then you would take the elevator up or stairs up, depending on your abilities, to visit the therapy center. And the therapy center is located just right off that, off the side of the pool area there. This is just a very initial concept of what the outside of that could be. Again, we're at a design development stage, so still a lot of tweaking to be had. Really, the main focus was to tie in this rendering probably doesn't do it justice, but to tie in the material selection and the color selection that you already see on campus. So you got the red bricks and the cream bricks that are already found all across the campus, but then go ahead and stand out a little bit more uniqueness to show that it's an aquatic center and not just another facility. I will say in closing, the one thing that we looked at, and the one thing that always bothered me when we studied natatoriums, as we spoke with Coach Melbourne, as we went through all the processes of visiting different natatoriums, is natatoriums essentially are busy early in the morning, from 5 o'clock in the morning until about school time, about 8 o'clock, and then very busy late at night. But there's this dead spot during the middle of the day. And that's where we said, is there some business partnerships? Is there some other people that could be using that space and benefiting from that space that could use the middle of the day when we don't have an active center going on there, that we were able to long-term be able to capture some of those expenses that go with that. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Board. I think really for us tonight is just a recommendation to pursue those opportunities if you see fit, and let us come back to you with what those look like. But we're certainly happy to answer any questions and discuss as you see fit.
I just have a quick question. I think this is great. I'm really excited about it. As far as when we open this up, will it require more personnel being hired, or is it just moving people in there that are already working for the district?
There is some responsibility that will be hired for this campus. We would have to hire, I don't know what the position you're, well, but what would the facility person be? An auditorium director, and then they would also obviously have an administrative person with them. And then from the facility side, we would have to have a certified pool operator that would keep up with the filters and the chemicals and everything that goes into that pool. We've already talked about that certified facility operator actually being a facility operator that takes care of this facility, the stadium, and the ag center. Since they're all three centrally located, that gives them the ability for that maintenance guy to be able to handle those three facilities on a day-to-day routine basis. So there is some positions that do come with this facility, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. On the pools itself, you said 50 meters long, but how many lanes are going to be in the main pool?
I have to look to my architectural team. So is it 24? Yeah, that includes the practice lanes, right? 28 with the practice lanes.
Because that was when you said five teams, and it just, okay, so 24 lanes across the board. So if you look at the width of it, then what's the length width-wise? Is it going to be 25 yards? Can you do the stripes going? Yes,
you can go either way. So you can do 2 meets going across the pool and still do dive competitions, or you could do one long 50-meter meet, which is typically only done by the United States USA Sports, thank you, swimming. They are typically only one. UIL only does the short runs.
Right.
If you do the long run, you do have to do diving separately because of where you put the bulkheads. It doesn't allow for the diving.
Right.
But that's again, if that's a USA meet, they don't do diving and swimming in the same meet, so it'd be a separate meet. But normal UIL, you're going to run the short course plus the diving, and that's what that allows.
So is it the 24 lanes short course? Is that how you're doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One of the benefits, I will speak, I didn't mention this earlier, one of the benefits, we talked about putting that practice pool on the end too to be able to just provide more lanes. But one of the benefits in having that practice pool off to the side is water temperature. Our athletes swim at a colder temperature, so to have that practice lane on a different setting for our kids when they come in for their swim lessons and for their water safety courses, that pool wouldn't be quite as cold. Now, obviously, if we're in a scenario where we have a fifth team practicing there, we probably are going to lower that temperature just a little bit during that course of time. But in general, you can control that temperature, that body of water temperature better and keep it a little bit higher, a little bit more comfortable for those little ones as they come and go in their practice sessions and their swimming and safety courses.
Tim, this is exciting.
Thank you.
And I think the thought of utilizing the facility all day and to have partnerships and be able to support courses, it's just really exciting. This is kind of an on down the road question, and I really don't know the answer, but will it make us have to have changes with insurance or safety? And I don't need an answer, just wondering right now. So
yeah, I would say it's not a school facility, so we don't have kids there on a daily routine basis no more than we do the stadium or the ag facility. There are safety constraints that we put in, which is why we bottlenecked everything at the front. Someone come in, they could raptor in and go to the services that they need. So we've thought about that piece. The insurance piece is something that we're in discussions, early discussions with legal. The goal of this, just to be, quite transparent, is that we secure some funding from the partnerships, if it's these partnerships behind us, that allow for making up the difference in that construction cost, and that's viewed as kind of a front-ended lease. And so then there would be a termination to that, and at that point we kind of start over, and that's where that long-term operational cost comes back in. But certainly there's insurances and those lease terms that we'd have to bring back to you and get all that knowledge back to you, yes. Good question, thank you.
I, too, would like to say thank you, and especially to the partners for being a big part of our district thus far. I would encourage all the board to go to one of our current swim meets over in Keller to know how good our facility is actually going to be when we get it built. My grandson, unfortunately or fortunately, swims on the swim team, so With the 8 lanes that they have, that they participate in, it takes about 3 or 4 hours to get through a meet. So I look forward to an expedited meet and not having to drive all the way to Keller.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
I have a question about, and I know these are just preliminary drawings, but with just 2 locker rooms going to be sufficient?
Yeah, we've sized those. We've worked hand in hand with the coach, with Coach Melbourne, to really say what is optimal. That is optimal for 4 high schools. If that 5th one's in there practicing, then I'm probably in front of you. I hope I'm still here in front of you talking about the 2nd natatorium that we need to build. Just in similar to when we have that 4th high school come online, I'm probably going to be in front of you talking about the 2nd stadium we need to build. There's a certain amount of capacity that we can plan for. The 4 will be tight, but if we have that 5th one that now we're starting to plan that, then you probably pull 2 off and make it more comfortable again. But it's certainly doable. We've allowed for that. The locker rooms really are only used during meets for changing stations, so it's really only our high school team's ability to store their stuff while they're at practice.
Board, I would recommend that you approve this vision, this direction that we are going, and the next step will be to solidify more of these partnerships and to bring you back actual agreements. I recommend approval.
Madam President,
Mr. Sproles?
I move to authorize the superintendent or his designee to explore partnerships for the NISD Aquatic Center.
Okay. Got a motion by Mr. Sproles, a second by Mr. Hastings. All those in favor? 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Board.
Guys, thank you all very much. This is exciting.
Yes.
Very exciting. Clint, thank you. Appreciate it. Huckabee, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Okay, item D, gas and water easement on Central Campus. Dr. Warren?
Board, in your packet, page 72 in your packet is where Tim would like you to approve we're not approving the agreement yet.
Not yet.
But we do need to just make sure that you're okay with Tim pursuing with the developer. You can see on page 72 where the water easement would need to be and the gas easement would need to be for a future development, which would be...
Currently, right now, the developer that's approached us is the TMS storage. Self-storage
units.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you see the exhibits there. That's the area that has been designated. So we're working on the fair value of that back to us, as well as the legal agreements. But did want to get direction from the board that you want us to pursue with that.
Madam President,
Mr. Sluter?
I move to authorize the superintendent or his designee to execute and deliver all agreements, settlement statements, easements, and instruments necessary to grant gas and water easements on the Central Campus to be ratified by a future board meeting.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Sluter, a second by Dr. Roush. All those in favor? 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay, and moving on to F, resolution of board approved credit by examination audit. Dr. Warren?
All right, Board, we've had a kind of change in the rules of our credit examination about the audit process. So Dr. DeSimone is going to bring you a presentation tonight. This is a discussion only, and we'll ask you to approve this after your questions during the October board meeting.
Okay, I'm excited to present this because it gives us the audit process has actually given us more powers as a local entity in how we assess students. So this is a really good thing. To give you a little bit of history, in 2015, the Texas legislative session met and they revised the law, Texas Education Code 74.24, to state that the end-of-course credit by exams must be externally validated, aligned to all addressed TEKS, and yield reliable results. What that meant was there were no tests in the state of Texas that met all that criteria. So as a district and across the state, all the districts were advised not to give a CBE for end-of-course exams that were for original credit. We could give them for credit recovery, but we could not give them any longer for students who were seeking original credit in Algebra 1, English 2, U.S. History, or Biology. So that put us in a little bit of a pickle. In April of this year, we've been eagerly waiting to see what this would look like for the last 3 years, to see what they would come up with as far as how to validate these assessments. So in April, UT Austin certified that their tests, their CBEs that they give that align with the EOC tested courses align with this requirement. So that freed a lot of us up to start giving those tests for original credit. In May, the State Board of Education met to further refine the laws and define them and give us more guidance as to how that should roll out. In short, all of the EOC tested CBEs must meet the State Board of Education determined criteria by August 27th, 2018, which was a few weeks ago. And all non-EOC tested CBEs also must meet these requirements by next year. And so what that means to the school board is that it's created a need for us to develop a local board policy to create an audit process for our CBEs. In short, the proposed resolution, I want to give you the exact terminology, will allow NISD's curriculum team to develop credit by examination assessments for grades 1 through 12 as long as the CBEs accurately and appropriately assess TEKS for all the relevant grade levels. And so what that means is that now our curriculum department can meet and develop an assessment that that will meet will meet all of these criteria, and we will have a system to get this externally validated. They clarified the language of the requirements for the validation of the CBEs. That was something that we across the state in my position were concerned about because we didn't know what the validation process was supposed to look like. And they are currently rolling that out to our region centers. And the proposed resolution clarifies that CBEs developed by UT Austin and Texas Tech will defer to the university's audit processes and certificates. So they have an outside auditing process, and from what I was able to gather from Texas Tech and UT Austin, that is within their university, but it is outside of their high school CBE department. UT Austin has already validated, as I mentioned, and certified their EOC tested CBEs. Texas Tech, I called them 3 times this summer and recently in the last week, and they still are not able to meet this requirement, but they're actively working on it. So going forward, we will be giving the UT Austin CBE test for all EOCs that are or CBEs that are aligned with that EOC test, and we will continue to use Texas Tech for the non-EOC tested courses. I want to pop back up to a bullet point in that first section, which is about the board policy on our kindergarten assessments. Kindergarten acceleration looks a little different by nature of who is being assessed than it would as a sit-down test for 1st through 12th grade. So the State Board of Education made no changes, and what we have in our board policy currently for kindergarten acceleration is perfect. So what are your questions?
Board Melissa will continue to nail this down within the next month, and this will be on your action item for your October board meeting.
Do you have an idea of how many students might be taking advantage of this or have this need?
I absolutely do. Over the summer in June, we tested almost 400 students in grades 1 through 12 on various CBEs. Most of those were for math acceleration. And so that really has shown us that we have a need to create a CBE for our math acceleration students. In August, it was right around 200. And again, I would say about 80% of those were students who were trying to accelerate in mathematics. Thank you.
Okay, our first report is the August Financial and Investment Report. Dr. Warren?
Mr. Gresswich.
Good evening. This is the monthly report for August. We had 2 investments mature in August, a $500,000 security and activity funds and a $15 million general operating fund. Our payroll runs about $12 million a month. Now the district gets bigger and bigger, and so about every month in the fall we have about $15 million mature, which is how we kind of ladder things out. The other $3 million covers the accounts payable that we run every month. We also purchased a bunch of securities. We laddered out the capital projects funds, and so the ladders are pretty well built now for the fall, and then we won't be doing much in the way in terms of investing until the December tax receipts start to come in, and then we'll rebuild everything. So at this point, we start running our cash balances down. We typically get cash in 2 different ways, of course. One is the tax receipts in December, and the other one is when we do a bond issuance, which we typically do around May, and take that money in June and then ladder it back out as well. Interest rates are trickling upwards as the Fed raises the interest rates. There's quite a few forecasted Fed increases, somewhere between 3 and 6. Most people are kind of landing around 4 right now, but it just depends upon how the economy does. But at any rate, maturities, they are up to a little over 2%. We have $211 million invested. It's spread around in treasuries, local government investment pools, bank deposits, and various agencies, and a little small CD we still have. It's laddered out also as well on a maturity basis. We've got 35% in overnight, 25% out at 3 months, 28% out at 6 months, and then 13% out to 12 months still. We're exceeding all the well, we're actually in the middle of the benchmarks right now. It kind of moves around. It's hard to keep up with the rising interest rates. We earned $371,000 for the month of August, and we've earned $871,000 year to date. So we're drawing in some more interest. Hopefully something bad will happen for just a few days next May, and when we sell bonds, and so the interest rates will drop, and then whatever is bad, hopefully it'll go away, and we can start making better interest earnings. But I am much more concerned, of course. We issue about $100 million a year now on bonds, so we're much more of a borrower than an investor, to say the least. The financial statements are attached. Be happy to answer any questions. We will be bringing you the audit at the next meeting in October, along with a lot of other financial information. It kind of wraps up the last year and the year we're currently in.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, our next report is the board orientation report on curriculum instruction.
And Dr. Thornell has it. Ooh.
Okay. This one will be up front. All right. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, and I would like to talk to you about an overview of the C&I division and what we do. And Board Member Schluter asked me to keep this short, but I told him that was kind of risky because this is what we do, and I didn't want it to be too short. But I will try to move quickly, if that's okay. This is our group. I would say that without a doubt, I feel like I have the best leadership team in the entire state of Texas. They do a lot of work, and what I will do is go through what each of their departments does. All of you hear from all of them and get a chance to hear from all of them in their annual effectiveness report, so I won't necessarily talk about that. I'm going to try to move quickly, but that's a good group. These are the different departments we're going to review. We're going to talk about campus support. The C&I is kind of broken into curriculum development, professional development, and then the RAD department is how they like to be known. The College Career and Innovation Department, Student Services, Athletics, Fine Arts, Technology. So it's a quick one. I will say that Adam is going to give his own overview about the Technology Department later in the year, so I will not hit that one near as much. That's it. It's just a few people. So you can read through that closely if you would like. We tried to highlight those folks, and there's the technology side of that. Okay? So let's talk about campus support. First of all, Dr. Griffin does an excellent job with that and leading all the principals, and she's slid into her new role as assistant superintendent this year, and her and Dr. Ferris are working very closely on, as you heard earlier this evening, on the campus improvement plans. They supervise the principals. They work with all things instructional leadership, including the learning teams model that you see there in the picture. They're in charge of the basic book, which is anything but basic, which includes all our ordering and equipment and resources for our classrooms. They get the wonderful opportunity of talking about parent concerns if they're not satisfied at the campus level, and so on and so forth. And you can see that, again, they do an excellent job. I think you already heard the effectiveness report of the secondary and elementary education earlier this year, so I won't go any further in that. But that is Dr. Ferris and Dr. Griffin's group. In the curriculum, the areas of responsibility, Dr. Espinoza and her group does an excellent job. I had bullet pointed some of the pieces that they do, including all the curriculum management plan. They are in charge of the some of the new teacher stuff. They actually worked with HR to kind of tag team on that. But Dr. Espinoza does all the T-test training. And as you can see, quite a few things. I wanted to just take you briefly. You can see the website right here if you go to the curriculum website. And I'm just going to show you a couple things. But what a parent could see here are a lot of different resources. But in this particular case, I just want to take you to the curriculum content. So you can go through all the different items that they have right there, elementary and secondary, the bilingual ESL, dyslexia, and all that goes with it. And I will not go through every one of those documents, but I think they've done a great job getting a resource for parents. Stephanie also does, and you will hear in great detail right after this report, correct? Where is she? Yes. She's going to talk about a professional learning effectiveness report. We do a great many things in NISD to build capacity with our teachers. You've heard about a lot of them already, but our Engage conference was something that is very exciting, and I don't want to steal her thunder. But again, I'm going to go back to the website real quick, and you can click on professional learning. She's probably going to do this a lot better than I will. But you can see that any teacher would go in and be able to find information about their flex days, summer professional learning. That catalog alone is quite extensive. District PLCs and the support that they're given throughout the year and whatnot. So again, professional learning is not something that we lack for in NISD. Okay. The last part in that little department we lovingly refer to as the RAD department. And you can see Melissa, who was just up early, does all things assessment, including our community-based accountability system and everything that goes with that. Their department is quite extensive. I'll just show you some of the things that they do and the resources that they have. This is where you'll find our campus report cards, any standardized testing information, again, well as our campus community-based accountability system. They've done a great job with that. And you can see work in process A through F ratings. We'll see how that goes. This is also one of the opportunities that's unique, not unique to our district, but we often get research requests from people that want to do a dissertation or do some sort of research study in our district, and Melissa handles those and vets those so it's not too cumbersome on our teachers or staff. So she does a good job with that. Then we move into the career technical education and all things innovative, right, Celine? Including the natatorium program. So one of the things that I think helps our district stand out is our different career pathways. And if you have not seen one, I would love to show you a career tree. So you will see under the website, you can go to 27 different opportunities. And there we go. Mr. Sproles, do you have one that you'd want to learn about? Aviation, right, aren't you? As a pilot? So what our kids and our parents have this wonderful resource. We call these career trees, and I will not do them justice to go through. But in those 27 different pathways, what a child and a teacher and a parent can see is there's entry-level careers, There's technical careers, and there's all the way up to professional careers. And every one of those pathways shows our students opportunities and things that they can do with those courses and those certifications and move on those classes. So it's not just a one job we're after. There's a whole different thing in that area of interest. And so we're pretty proud of those. And there's 27 of them. And if you'd like to get a career cursory badge, I think Selena's working on that. I have not finished my badge, I will tell you that, and learning all about them. But that is a great resource that we have. Our counselors and our teachers are starting to use them quite extensively. In addition to the career trees, which is a great resource, this department handles all the internships for our kids, our professional certifications that they get. We're working to continue to build our adult and community ed programs, handle all the federal Perkins grants, quite a bit of money in compliance, and whatnot. And we get a lot of opportunities for our kids through these programs. Selena also oversees the college and career readiness with the help of Bobby Morris, who's doing double duty for us this year. He has still maintained his director of college and career readiness status while also overseeing Steel. So you're busy, aren't you, Bobby? Doesn't he look tired? He's doing a great job in both. He's doing a great job in both roles. He really is, and brought a lot of great ideas to the group in the last couple of years since he's been here, including that wonderful cartoon down there. You remember hearing about it last spring, but it was CollegeCon, when we're trying to introduce our students to the different opportunities that make them college career ready. I've had the opportunity to share those cards with first graders all over the district. But I want to show you his website real quick as well. Bobby has done a great job with parent resources. You can see all the things that are there to help our kids become college and career readiness, including 4-year plans, AVID. The On-Ramps program has grown extensively over his watch, and so you'll see that's where you get a lot of resources for our parents as we go through that process. Okay. Student services. This is a huge department with lots of responsibility, and Dr. Eddie's taken over this year and done a great job. Her and Dr. McNeese do the student support services piece, and you can see all the different programs that they oversee, and it is, again, quite extensive, from our 504 students to at-risk students, all the response to intervention, and everything that goes with that. And then Susie's favorite is the student handbook and code of conduct. A lot of fun. But they do a great job. Their website, we'll go through all of those things, and I'm going to touch base on the guidance and counseling program and the special ed as well, but all of those fall under the big heading of student services. Okay? So, you look at special education, and Dr. Eddie's there, and she works with Ms. Gerke, and they, Child Find, special education, they do extended school year services. They do a great job servicing all our kids and some of our most fragile learners. You see Micah right there, and this is, again, a great resource for our parents, our staff, and everybody that goes with it. You can go through all of these different items and find them. Okay? Next, we have guidance and counseling. And Jamie, where are you, Jamie? There she is. She's here. She does a great job with all our counselors, K through 12, which is a monumental task because it's a different type of counseling in elementary all the way up through high school. But they do all the high school academic planning, the 4-year plans that go with that. Jamie oversees all the counselors that work with that, which is quite a few. All right, we'll go through the resources. And the other thing that, again, I like to brag on with all our departments, but she has done a great job developing resources for not just our students and staff, but for all our parents. But you can look at all the different things that she has listed there and many, many more. This is a program that's growing immensely, and with our push for social emotional learning, Jamie and Michael are doing a great job going through that committee, and we look for that even more to go. So let's see. Athletics. Joel, hey buddy. Joel does a whole lot, and you can see just some of those things, and you heard from his discussion today here about the natatorium. It's a lot more than just football in NISD, and the different sports and the programs that he is bringing to our students is amazing. We've got more kids participating in athletics than ever before. But it's, again, some of the community outreach that comes through that department is second to none, whether it's the reindeer romp, jump rope, or all of those things. So he has a great job with all that. I would go to I keep flipping back and forth from these sites, but I just kind of wanted you to see the overview of them. But you can go to the athletic site. And I love the way that they have it all in one place. But you can sign up for all the athletic camps. You can find the schedule for any high school, middle school, any sport. They do a great job keeping their pictures going. I encourage you to follow them on Twitter because they're always showing great things about our kids. So it's a good resource for everyone involved. And then, last but not least, our wonderful fine arts department. Kevin Lacefield, I don't know how many times in a row he's been labeled the best community for music education in the country. How many years in a row is that, Kevin? Like 20? 10. 10 years in a row. Kevin does all things fine arts, including a wonderful middle school musical this weekend. He especially loves his time with cheerleaders, and Joel and Kevin have been fighting over that responsibility for the last several years. But again, one of the things that I point out about this department, much like athletics, is the number of community programs that they and community service projects that they get involved in just really supports and helps our kids throughout. So those are our different departments. I know that was fast and furious, and I know that I didn't hit everything that we try to do, but I'm very proud of them and the work that they do. I couldn't ask for a better group of leaders in each and every one of those departments. They are experts in their field.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay.
Good job, Rob.
I do want us to know that Mr. Sluter said if he didn't have a question, that meant I did okay. So I was watching. All right, thank you.
Okay, our next report is Professional Development District Effectiveness Report. Dr. Warren?
Board, this is your annual report from Stephanie, who does and all the responsibilities Rob just described does an excellent job. So, Dr. Espinosa, please.
All right, good evening. Saves are best for last, as the list says, so. All right, so let's get started. Dr. Thornell did mention our professional learning catalog, or that framework. And so what that is it's a comprehensive guide that tells our staff members all the different professional learning opportunities that are available to them. We designed it to be aligned with their appraisal system, and so every professional learning that we offer is aligned to one of the 4 T-test domains. So as teachers work towards perfecting their craft, they can find professional learning opportunities that match their needs or the needs of their students. Like I said, everything in there is aligned to these 4 T-test domains, and that's just a quick overview of the things that you would find in the categories that fall under each of those domains. So again, it's great because teachers, when they meet with their principals at the end of the year and review their scores from their evaluation, the T-test system, they can find the exact instruction or professional learning that they need to meet their own professional goals that they set with their principals. And so we're really excited about that because the teachers have a little bit more control of what they are needing, but then they also know that it's meeting what their campuses are looking for as far as their instruction and the needs of their students. And then within each of those domains, we also have learning levels to, again, meet the needs of our teachers. We have first-year brand-new teachers. As a growing district, we hire a lot of those. And then we're lucky enough, because our district is wonderful, to retain a lot of teachers, and so their needs are varied. And so some teachers are really looking for some application-type pieces of professional learning, and some are really looking to advance themselves and transform their campuses. And so we try to provide them with opportunities that are leveled to meet just the different needs that they might have. So each year we really reflect on what's happened that year. We start in the spring thinking about what have we seen in classrooms, what have we seen through data, what's the feedback that we're getting from campus principals and teachers, and try to determine what does our summer focus, our professional learning focus need to be. So this year we focused on content literacy, content knowledge, and then differentiation. Now, we focus on a lot of things, but we really try to put a big focus on a few things that we see where we might have a need. So specifically, some of that would look like having a focus on reading and writing to learn. So we talk about teaching kids to read and teaching kids to write, but we also feel that reading and writing to learn is how we take things to a deeper level for our students. So we worked with our teachers as well as helping students interact with text, identifying content vocabulary and language skills, because that helps the teachers and the students better understand the depth of the skills that they're working on. And then we're always looking for ways to meet the needs of all of our students, because as you know, those are varied and changing a lot. So last year we started an annual institute for our teachers. And our teachers are required to get 18 hours of flex time. And what that means, that flex time is training that they do in the summer, so about equivalent to 3 days of training in the summer. And in turn, then they get time off during the year for Christmas, part of their Thanksgiving time and Christmas break time. So that's something we have done for ever since I can remember. So, but one thing that we added last year that was very successful was an annual institute. So as you can see, those are the areas the annual institutes were developed for at this time. They're only 3 hours in length, so the teachers still have 15 hours of opportunities to get things that are more specific or things that they're really working for their goals. But the reason why we created these institutes is we wanted to make sure that each year our teachers were all hearing the exact same message based on where we saw the needs to be on our campuses. So for instance, we noticed last year that our students in math, elementary math, were really struggling to justify their answers. And that had to do with either in writing or verbally justifying their answers. And what they were doing was giving us more of a step-by-step rundown of how they solved a problem. But that's not taking it to the level we wanted the students to. So we made sure that all of our elementary math teachers had training on how to get kids to justify and what that looked like at their grades. So this year, knowing that we were focusing on literacy, we really wanted to design our institutes to build on content literacy. We wanted our teachers to realize how content literacy would help our students create meaning in everything that they were learning, no matter the content. And then that also gives them the ability to use the context from what they're reading, whether it's informational or a literary text, to ascend the pyramid of cognitive demand and really get them to think deeper about what they are learning in school. And so that is really where our focus was throughout all of our institutes this summer, and encouraging our teachers to use reading and writing as part of the learning demand that we have for our students. So just a few other notable learning opportunities that we have this summer. So sheltered instruction observation protocol, we provided that for at the secondary level to really help better support our ELL learners and their building of language. Technology integration and using technology for classroom management. We are talking a lot in the district about productive struggle and what that looks like, how we get kids to struggle through something without giving up. That also ties into our social and emotional learning platforms that we're looking at. We want students to persevere. We don't want them to be, we don't want them to give up, or we don't want them to feel frustrated, but we want them to learn how to persevere and really push themselves. Project Wild, depth and complexity training. We sent teachers to Teachers College in New York to learn about Writer's Workshop and bring that back from the author of the units of study, Lucy Calkins. We've done a lot with balanced literacy and created a balanced literacy committee with the representative from every teacher at the elementary level. We did an ethics training for all of our secondary teachers, and then we will extend that to elementary next year. Done a lot with behavior intervention and support, and our behavior interventionists brought several trainings forward to support our teachers with behavior interventions within their classroom and to support their students. And then response to intervention, and then book studies. And just a real quick piece on the book studies. Again, we wanting to meet the needs of our teachers, so we wanted to offer some different opportunities and do some book study type learning and discussions throughout the summer. So we had 16 different book studies that were offered. And again, we're modeling the importance of literacy across contents. This was not just for our ELA teachers, but lots of different opportunities. And then again, to meet the needs of our teachers, because some were ready for something a little bit different. And so we wanted to provide that for them. And we had a lot of teachers take us up on that and had some great, rich conversations through those book studies. Engage. So this is probably something our department's is really the proudest of. This really has become part of our culture in Northwest. Teachers ask about Engage, what's going to happen at Engage. They get excited for Engage. And it's really kind of our kickoff to the year. So we offered 219 sessions this year, and coincidentally, we offered 219 sessions last year. I had to go back and double check. So I thought that was interesting. But we had 2 keynotes plus an evening parent event that was we had a great response. Celine brought in Mark Perna for that event, and he did a keynote as well as meeting with parents and students. We also had additional outside experts, which you can see all of that on the professional learning website if you want to see who all presented outside the district. We had over 1,000 attendees, and the word's getting out there, and now districts are contacting us asking if they could send teachers. And so we charged them a minimal fee of $100 for 2.5 days of the conference, which that helps offset the cost of some of our outside presenters. And we got a lot of great feedback from them. So some of our smaller districts, it's nice to reach out to them and provide this for them because they don't have some of the opportunities that we have. And then just to look at the feedback from our professional learning this summer. So we ask the same questions. We really try to ask these same questions year after year so that we can get a good indication of how our teachers are feeling and if we're meeting their needs. So if you look here on a 1 to 4 point scale, that way we don't want them just to choose right in the middle. We want them to actually be choosing either on the positive or the negative end. But you can see today's training will help me be more effective in my job. We had a 97.6% positive rating with an average of 3.82. Today's training will help me successfully implement district initiatives or instructional expectations. Again, a 97.1% positive rating with 3.80. And then looking at how our presenters presented or conveyed the material, at 97% with a 3.86% positive rating. I think the one thing that I really want to point out is our teachers do the majority of the professional learning in the district. They do it. We have what's called a professional learning team, and they have a lot of extra training on how to present to adult learners, and they work very closely with coordinators and coaches. But our teachers are amazing, and they get to talk straight to other teachers about how things can be done, and they have their own classroom to use as a model and to talk them through that. And so you can see that they are doing a great job with that kind of response. Also, 91% said that they would like to see more sessions like the session that they were rating, and so we think that's a great positive response to know that we're hitting the areas that they feel that they need. And then 5% actually said that they requested that they would like more support from a coach, and so we thought that was an interesting, based on the topic that they went to. So what they could do is if they wanted to have some specific support from a coach, they could indicate that, and then the coach will reach out to them. Here, just a couple of, I sent this to the presenters. Actually, I sent several pages of feedback from the survey that we got to all the presenters that presented for us at Engage. that I wanted them to see the positive feedback that they received. All our presenters also get all the individual feedback as well, so I won't read them to you, but they're great. So I'll let you read those when you feel like you have a little more time. All right, so back to school schedule. So one thing that we wanted to make sure we continued this year, we had such great feedback about it last year, is we really gave the teachers a little bit more time for planning and time in their rooms at the beginning of the year. So they really appreciated that last year, and again this year they had that time. Helps them feel like they're starting the year off a little less stressed and less frustrated, because they just want everything to be perfect for their kids when they come in. And so we continued with that. So just some ongoing support that we have throughout the year. New Teacher Academy is a great activity, or a great professional learning opportunity we have for our new teachers. And they could be new to teaching or just new to the district. And so we bring them in 3 times a year during the year, and they actually work with coordinators and coaches and visit teachers' classrooms so they can see some of the things like workshop model or purposeful struggle, the things that we're talking about, academic language and things like that. They can see that in action in the classrooms. And so once they are doing that, they just can make those better connections and feel a little bit more at ease when they go back and try it in their classroom. Because we know that at the beginning of the year, it's like drinking from a fire hose. We're trying to get them prepared and want them to feel as comfortable as they can. And so we're giving them so much information, and all they can think about is, all these kids are going to be in my room soon, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So we know that. We all remember that. I think I always tell teachers I cried until January. And so we don't want them to feel like that. So we want to make sure that they know what it can look like and who their resources are, who their supports are. All of our coaches have already visited every new teacher in the district, and some more than once, to make sure that they know that we're there for them. And then instructional coaching, of course, is available for all teachers at request or just by design when they come in and are visiting classrooms, spending time in their PLCs, different things like that. We also provide targeted professional learning. So things like lunch and learns, we have campuses contact us all the time, and they'll say, hey, can you spend the day on my campus? And during lunches, I'll buy pizza if you will come in and do a 30-minute little overview of something for our teachers. And so those have been really popular. The teachers get to eat for free, and they get to have a little bit of support on something that they might be working on. And so we'll see that. We see the same thing maybe after school if they need a little bit longer time, but really meeting the needs of that campus based on their goals, based on their campus improvement plans, or based on their data. We have 3 professional learning days that occur during the year as well, both district and campus. And so they can, depending on which one it is, more support is available for them. And then I will show you just this one. I don't know how to get to that curriculum page. So all of our, hold on, time out. So all of our content instructional coaches have created these content pages, and yes, it really is me. So they are password protected so that our teachers are the only ones that have access to it. But this is just an example of the secondary ELA site. So here they have back to the resources of their Summer Institute, so if teachers wanted to pull something from that. The resources we have for our new hires, the New Teacher Academy curriculum updates, and then you can come down and see, they just finished writing calibration, just all of the different resources that have been provided for them are within this resource for them. And again, every content area has it, and so our teachers know that they can refer to this for additional support. So they'll meet their coaches through here. There's resources, and then I love in our classrooms. So we really celebrate teachers here. So if we see some great things in the classroom, then our coaches will get permission from those teachers, and then celebrate them here. So you can click on each of these and look at exemplar lessons, exemplar work, and different things like that. So we love that because it lets our teachers know we're looking, we're watching, and we want to celebrate your hard work. And so that these sites have been really popular, and our principals enjoy them as well because it helps them get a good sense of what they should be seeing when they're in classrooms. All right, leadership learning is always a constant focus for us as well. We know that developing strong leaders is very important, and so things like our learning cycles and things that Logan and Michael do with the principals is ongoing. The APPLCs, always looking for ways to continuously support them. And then our challenges. I feel like we're doing a lot of fantastic things, but it's important to note that as we grow as a district, we hire close to 300 teachers a year, and that is a lot of teachers that are coming in that need to learn the Northwest way and need to acclimate very quickly because every second of instruction counts. And so figuring out the best way to continue to support them is always at the forefront, and wanting to support them, but also not forgetting our veteran teachers and making sure that we have challenges for them and the things that they need. And then changing student needs. Our students are changing as we grow, and so we want to make sure that we are equipping our teachers and our administrators and all of our staff with the things that they need to meet those needs, and then, again, the varying needs of our teachers. All right, any questions?
Any questions? Thank you.
Wow. I must have done well because I don't have any questions.
All right, item 10, consider any item removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Board President's Report. Board, remember we have the TASB Convention September 27th through 30th in Austin, and you have an envelope from Jennifer with information in it for our convention. And okay, and now the Superintendent's Report.
Board, I'm going to have Jennifer send this list out to you. There's several dates between now and the middle of October, very, very important dates. This coming week, the Byron Nelson Homecoming Parade. Next Wednesday, the Northwest Homecoming Parade. The very next Friday, the Neff Golf Tournament, the Gold Card Luncheon, Community Night at the Stadium Band Showcase. So she's going to send those out to you to be able to, so you can have those on your calendar if you can show up for any of those things. They love to see things like that. I know you guys love to come and support. Just a couple of things. Before we leave for our weekend on Friday, all the members of the cabinet are going to submit at least two things based on their responsibilities. They're going to submit two ideas to me that could come to you as a recommendation for legislative priorities. So I'm going to try to do my best to get those to you next week. I would really like to have a good discussion about these during the October board meeting, get your ideas. TASA is already produced theirs. I think TASB is about to produce theirs. We've got several other organizations that we belong to, and I'm going to try to get you all that information inside one of my Friday reports to you so that you can really be thinking about what you would like to ratify as the 2019 NISD legislative priorities. And then, Board, I just really need you to start thinking about this. You know, one of the things that are on my performance objectives is to give you as much information and data to make a decision on if we will call if and when we will call a tax ratification election. So on the back of that, it just gives you some suggested activities that we're going to participate in. Number one, just a discussion tonight. I believe Ann and I had a discussion a couple of months ago, and she said that it would really help her to start looking at several years of proposed budgets, just to start looking at the numbers. So John is not going to wait until January to start producing the 5-year plan. He's actually going to go over with you the budget forecast, the 5-year budget forecast in October with the information that we know right now. He and Brian are also going to look at producing an informational website about TREs that our public can get onto. I'm going to do a Facebook Live and hopefully start getting some feedback from that. And then just ongoing through the spring and the summer is just more information, the data to you to make a decision. So anything you would like, one of the discussions I'd like to have in October board meeting is what you need added to this. What information above and beyond what we'll glean from these activities would you need to really be able to say yes or no, Ryder, it's time to do a TRE. So just be thinking about that. Again, these are just some things that we have brainstormed about that we're going to be participating in and bringing kind of a constant flow of information to you on this. So any help, any suggestions to improve this from your standpoint is greatly appreciated. Mrs. Kopp, that's all I have.